What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys have been enjoying my videos, please go and subscribe and help support me in this journey to grow my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about deep diving jerk baits, just like these. Now, the only difference in a deep diving jerk bait and a regular jerk bait is just the depth. This one's going to dive just a little bit deeper than your standard jerk bait. Most of the uh, deep diving jerk baits on the market now are going to dive in that 7-8 foot range, give or take. But today I'm going to break down a couple tips and tricks that I like to use when I'm throwing deep diving jerk baits. So let's get to it. So first, let's break down what exactly a deep diving jerk bait is. The only big difference is going to be the build. You're still going to have the same profile, same hooks, same weight, but as you notice, it's got an elongated bill on it, and that's what helps this bait dive 1, 2, 3 more feet than your standard jerk bait would. Now, a lot of people think that when you're out there throwing a deep diving jerk bait, that you have to change your cadence up. That's not the case. A lot of times, I actually shorten my cadence up on a deep diving jerkbait versus my standard jerkbaits. And what I mean is, on a normal jerkbait, you can get really aggressive with some baits. Some of them you can't, but majority of them you can really hit those baits hard. On a deep diving jerkbait, you don't have to hit them that hard. Once you get that bait down to its desired depth, you don't have to sit there and just yank on it all the time. All it takes is just when you got that slack line, just pull that slack out of it. Don't don't hit them just super aggressive. Just calm down and just hit them just softly. These baits will do what they're designed to do without hitting them just really aggressively. Now, the other big factor that I look at when throwing a deep diving jerk bait is its depth and what depth you're fishing this jerk bait in. When you go to the tackle store and you pick up like this jerk bait, this is a Rapala Shadow Rap Deep. It says on here that it's 4 to 8 foot. And you might think that, hey, I can only throw this bait up to 8, maybe 10 foot of water. That's not true. A lot of times I'll catch fish in 18, 20 foot of water even with this bait. And I know what you're thinking, dude, this bait's only going to 8 foot. How am I going to catch them out of 20? It's called drawing power. And anybody that's been around swim baits, like big swim baits, or a frog has a lot of drawing power. The jerk bait is the same thing. It has a lot of drawing power in the water. It displaces a lot of water, a lot of flash, and it's suspended in the water column. Those fish have a long time to study that bait and come from a great distance up to that bait. So don't think just because this bait's only going to go 8 foot that you can't throw it in 15 to 20 foot of water. Those fish will come up and get it. Now, you might have to change your cadence up a little bit to trigger those fish into actually coming up off the bottom, or if they're suspended 2 foot off, you might have to change a little bit, maybe slow your retrieve down, maybe adjust your colors, something like that to get those fish to actually come up to the bait. Two of the best deep diving jerk baits that I like to throw are Mega Bass 110 plus 1, and like I mentioned before, the Rapala Shadow Rap Deep. Now, both of these are going to be diving in that 7-8 foot range, but a little trick to get them just a touch deeper is drop down to 10-pound line instead of 12. Most of the time I like to throw 12, but try dropping down to 10 pound and make a super long cast, and you can get that bait an extra foot and a half deeper. The other thing is with a deep diving jerkbait, I like to make a long cast, and once it hits the water, I'll actually crank that bait down, just 8, 9, 10 handle turns, get that bait on down, jerk them 3 or 4 times, and it should be close or at the desired depth. Then I go to my cadence. Now, these baits are the same in a lot of ways, but they are also very different. The mega bass is going to get to its depth every time, just like the Rapala. But this bait, when you hit them and stop, this bait doesn't move. He noses down and stays there the whole time. Jerk him again, he's not going to move. The Rapala, when you get them to the max depth and you jerk them and pause this bait, it's going to slowly sink. So, when you're out there trying to get those fish that are in 18 or 20 foot of water, this bait to me has more drawing power than the mega bass, especially in cold water. When you want that bait to really look like a dying shad, and after it jerks, it just slowly starts to shimmer down, this is the bait you need to be throwing, because this imitates a dying bait fish perfectly. And what's great is once it starts to sink and you jerk him again, he comes right back to its 8, even 9 foot, whichever line size that you've chosen to go with. So this is just a dynamite bait. My last tip for you guys is old school, okay? Any of your old time jerkbait fishing guys that you know probably have been using this and probably don't tell a lot of people about it. But when you're out there and you want your jerkbait to get even deeper than what your stock jerkbait is getting, people will use either suspend strips or even lead wire that goes around the hooks. And all that's doing is adding weight. Now, I've played around with some suspend strips, and all they are is these almost like stickers that go on the bottom of this bait to give it extra weight to get that bait even further down than what the original package is saying that bait's going to get. The only thing I will tell you guys is experiment with this, because adding too much weight to the front, you're going to get that bait to nose down and it's not going to look natural. Getting too much weight in the back is not going to make that bait act right. And the same thing, you can add weight to the very center of this bait, and if you put too much, it's going to change the action of that bait. So if you're going to try this, go and get you some suspend strips or lead wire. I would recommend starting with suspend strips and just toy around with it. Toy around it where you place it, how much you use, all of that, because everything is going to change the action and depth and everything about that bait. So whatever you do, you don't want to impede on the action of that bait. Then you're losing your drawing power and ability to catch fish. So there's my tips and tricks and my how-to on deep diving jerkbaits. Again, to recap, there's not much difference to me when throwing a deep diving jerkbait versus a standard mid diving jerkbait, other than you don't have to hit them as hard because you've got a bigger bill that's grabbing more water to pull that bait down. So remember that. Don't hit them too hard. Give them time to draw those fish out of the deep water up to your jerkbait. And I promise you're going to catch more fish. Thank you guys for watching. Again, please like and subscribe and comment down below what videos you might want me to do in the near future. Thank you, and we'll see you again.